Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host, Mark, and just me today. We're doing part 2 of By Blade and Bolt, my personal fetish as it. So if you like nightly chaotic space, for a heck of a ride, because we're going to be learning more about the Knights of Slaughter. This is the second episode. So in the first one, we learned all about their history, their gene seed, and their appearance. And in this episode, we're going to be learning about a little bit of other things about them. I was joking in the first episode. I got some comments like, "Actually, doing 8 episodes of them?" No, I don't have that much content, but I laid it out today, and I have 4 episodes worth. So sit back and enjoy by Bolter and Blade. Honestly, this is like it's my favorite lore I've written. I've written a lot of 40k lore, and even just writing like hundreds of episodes of Lorehammer. I really enjoy these guys. That's all. So indulge me as we go down this. Don't forget to come join the Patreon if you like the show. Support, they'll donate a couple bucks. There's also one-time donations in the link below. Every dollar helps. All right, let's get into it. So like I said, last episode, we went over their history, their genes, and their appearance. Lots there. I talked for an hour about it, but so I won't summarize it any more than that. But then today we're getting into their combat doctrine. So their mechanized assault infantry. There's 4 orders of battle and 8 codes of slaughter that we'll get into. That kind of really define the combat doctrine and like the way of war. Then we got culture and traditions from Dark Angels and how they affect worship of Khorne, which brings in like dueling culture and dishonor. We're going to really zone in on the aspect of Khorne that I've been focusing on for this army, which is not like violence. It's like martial honor and like a worthy kill. So these guys, while they like slaughter, that's not their objective. But they are chaos, so they do like to out good guys. Then we'll get into other things about their culture and traditions, like how do they see Angron and the other world eaters, and how that kind of all affects each other. Into some ceremonies, liturgies, oaths, and rites. There's 4 different ones that we can go through, and they're kind of fun. They kind of loop and feed back onto each other. It's kind of like a life cycle of a Knight of Slaughter. We'll get into what that means really when we get to it. And then their warp doctrine. So I think we're doing warp doctrine as well. So we'll learn about do they like mutation, corruption, demons, just kind of that kind of stuff. And that will be what we're getting into today. Very cool. I'm excited. Let's pull up some artwork. I'll start reading. I hope that. Oh, I was afraid that it would not show me in a good view mode. That's no better. Fucking Google Slides. You ever wonder? Maybe I have to do that. There we go. I think now we got it. I'm not really a tech guy, but we struggle through. All right. So as you can see here, I got some sweet artwork generated for these guys. It's Angron Elf and a Knight of Slaughter. Just on a cool, fun red backdrop. All right, so I'm just scrolling where we are. And now it's combat doctrine. The Knights of Slaughter strike as a mechanized assault infantry army, crashing into the enemy lines aboard armored transports to deliver sudden, overwhelming violence. Their speed and velocity leave little time for foes to react, turning every deployment into a hammer blow. Their tactics are strictly guided by the 4 orders of battle, which dictate how units are deployed and committed, while their actions on the field are tempered by the 8 codes of slaughter, a brutal, moral, and strategic framework that branches honor, discipline, and the ruthless pursuit of victory. Every assault is a blend of calculated strategy and bloody efficiency, ensuring that each warrior knows his place, purpose, and the deadly weight of the order he serves. Mechanized assault infantry. Since the earliest days of the Great Crusade, long before they earned the name the Knights of Slaughter, the 8th Mechanized Assault Infantry Company of the Warhounds was forged as shock mechanized assault infantry. Spartan assault tanks and Land Raider carriers thundered across the battlefield, revered by their riders as full steeds, bearing chainsword armed Astartes who wait in tense meditation, poised to unleash their righteous wrath. At the heart of combat, they strike with precision, decapitating enemy leaders in brutal duels before driving the rest into relentless, blood-soaked rout. To this day, the Knights of Slaughter maintain their fleet of these relic vehicles as sacred instruments of war, honing each ride as both privilege and duty in the delivery of slaughter. The Four Orders of Battle. The Four Orders of Battle form the foundation of the Knights of Slaughter, methodical and brutal approach to war, guiding every assault from the first strike to the final purge. Each engagement is a disciplined sequence of actions, combining mechanized mobility, personal combat, and precise firepower to overwhelm and annihilate the enemy. The armored rite of passage delivers warriors to the heart of enemy lines aboard Spartan and land ramparts. The bladed challenge sees champions engaged in deadly duels, cutting down key foes with chains and bolt pistols. The unstoppable march follows, a relentless advance of warriors who strike down all resistance with blade and fury. Finally, the Judgment Volley completes the operation, purging any survivors with disciplined bolt of fire to ensure no threat remains. And I would dive into those a little deeper. Number 1, the Armored Rite of Passage. Every engagement begins with the Armored Rite of Passage, where the Knights of Slaughter mount Spartan and Land Raider transport, or occasionally drop pods. These relic vehicles thunder across the battlefield, unleashing heavy bolt fire, carrying warriors into the very heart of enemy lines. Their sheer momentum and weight of the assault is designed to shatter enemy formations before they can react. I talked about in the first one, that little story we had with the deep strike landers. So Thunderhawks just swoop in 20 feet above the battlefield, drop Land Raiders on people. I can tell you. Number 2, the Bladed Challenge. Once the transports arrive, champions are deployed to engage in the Bladed Challenge, dueling enemy leaders with chain-swords and bolt pistols. Each duel is both a test of skill and a declaration of dominance, ensuring command falls to the worthy. The result is swift decapitation of key foes, leaving the remainder in confusion and fear. Yeah, Blood Angel style grim. The deep striking Land Raiders, man, classic. I hope they come back, but also I don't play tabletop, so what do I hope for? The third one is the Unstoppable March. Following the duels, the Unstoppable March drives forward, a relentless advance of swords and fury against any who resist. Warriors cut down all opposition, turning enemy lines into a tide of blood and shattered morale. Nothing that stands in the way of their march survives unscathed. And number 4, the Judgment Volley. For those who escape the blade, the Judgment Volley delivers precise bolt fire to purge the unworthy. This final step ensures no enemy survives to regroup or retaliate. It is both a methodical cleansing and a grim reminder that mercy is reserved for none. So that's kind of like their order of battle, and then we'll get into their codes of slaughter. The codes of slaughter serve as a personal creed of every Knight of Slaughter, guiding their mind and body through the chaos of battle. While the orders of battle dictate the tactical flow of engagement, the codes are repeated as mantras, steel against the pain of the nails and the fury of combat. Each strike, each duel, each act of slaughter is carried out in adherence to these brutal principles, ensuring that discipline, honor, and devotion to Khorne tempered the raw violence of the battlefield. Number 1, the challenge must be given. Every engagement begins with a declaration of intent, declaring the foe to face the knight in combat and prove their worth. Number 2, the worthy may be faced. Only the strongest and most dangerous enemies are singled out, for glory is confronting those who can threaten you. Number 3, the duel is sacred. Each one-on-one battle is a ritual of honor, where skill, ferocity, and resolve is measured in blood. 4, no mercy, no hesitation. Once combat begins, hesitation is death. Every strike must be decisive, leaving no room for pity. Number 5, the skull is the oath fulfilled. Victory is marked by the taking of the enemy's head, a tangible proof that the warriors carried out. Number 6, the banner remembers. Every action, every kill is recorded in the heraldry and the memory, a lasting testament to the chapter and the individual. Number 7, the nails are the spur. Pain and discipline drive the knights forward, both shaping their body and mind into instruments of relentless slaughter. 8. Khorne is the final judge. All deeds are ultimately judged by the blood god, whose favor validates victory and whose wrath awaits failure. Yeah, cool. So those are kind of how they do that. That's like their mentality, you know, their mantras. They can repeat these when they're waiting in their transports to like just kind of quench the nails. Yeah. We're going to get into the section of culture and traditions. Spaldrum says, blood for the blood god. Yeah, you know, I like my these Knights of Slaughter's chant where you can take by bolter and blade and then toss in blood for the blood god, or by bolter and blade, skulls for the skull throne. You know, you could do it either way. You can kind of vary it. Culture and much of the culture and traditions of the Knights of Slaughter are shaped and reinforced by four powerful influences. From the Dark Angels, they inherit a sense of martial ritual and knightly ceremony, emphasizing honor, dueling, and formal pageantry of war. The worship of Khorne instills a relentless drive for the slaughter and bloodshed, where violence is sacred and every duel or every kill is a devotion. Their loyalty to Angron enforces brutal obedience and the celebration of rage as a tool of war, shaping their tactics and mindset in the crucible of combat. Finally, lessons from the World Eaters provide practical experience and innovation in battle, exposing them to strategies, techniques, and traditions that supplement and challenge established ways of the chapter. The Dark Angels. The Dark Angels' knightly traditions, structures, and codes were never formally taught to the Knights of Slaughter, but instead absorbed through observation of rituals and battlefield conduct. Over time, this distanced sense of honor, dueling, and ceremonial combat, even as it adapted to their brutal, Khorne-fueled culture. What began as a relationship of distant kinship eventually soured into enmity. I can write, I can't fucking read. As ideological differences in the thirst for the slaughter drove once cousins chapters into outright hostility. So they learned knightly structure, codes, and tradition. The Knights of Slaughter absorbed key elements of the Dark Angels' knightly structure, codes, and traditions. Through careful observation, even without formal instruction, they mirrored the hierarchical organization of command, with champion knights, sergeants, and elite veteran units echoing their chapter's own ranks. Ritualized duels and formal challenges were adopted as an essential part of combat, emphasizing honor in one-on-one engagements and ceremony taking of heads. Likewise, heraldry, banners, and recording of deeds in both memory and symbol were incorporated, giving each warrior personal collective identity that reinforced discipline, loyalty, and the spectacle of war. Relationship. The relationship between the Knights of Slaughter and the Dark Angels evolved in 3 distinct phases. During the Great Crusade, the Angels were viewed as icons. They shared distant kinship, observing the Dark Angels' rituals and martial pageantry, absorbing their knightly ways as allies and cousins. In the rivals phase of the Horus Heresy, ideological differences and the bloodlust of the warband turned them into opponents, clashing over strategy and honor on the battlefield. Finally, during the ritualized prey of the Red Towering, the Dark Angels became a target for Knights of Wrath, their former mentors, cousins, reduced to ceremonial prey in duels and slaughter that tested both skill and devotion to Khorne. Icons, the Great Crusade. During the Great Crusade, the Knights of Slaughter regarded the Dark Angels as distant kin and models of martial discipline. They observed their duels and pageantry, absorbing elements of knightly structure and honor without direct instruction. The Dark Angels were respected as paragons of ceremony and skill, shaping the warband's own emerging traditions. The Horus Heresy rivals. By the time the Horus Heresy, ideological rifts and the rising bloods of the warband turned admiration into rivalry. The Knights of Slaughter began to challenge the Dark Angels directly, testing their strength and will on the field. former kin became opponents, and conflicting methods of war and devotion to Khorne set them on opposing sides. The Red Scouring, ritualized prey. During the Red Scouring, the Dark Angels became ritualized prey for the warband, no longer allies, but targets of ceremonial slaughter. Duels and assaults were performed with precision, honoring both skill and the blood god, turning former mentors into instruments of ritualized violence. This treatment cemented the transformation of the relationship from kinship, and shit, I wrote that word again, enmity, man, enmity, and fuck, man, whatever. You know, words are just words, whatever. Each encounter a test of the knight's devotion and ruthlessness. Worship of Khorne. The worship of Khorne shapes every facet of Knights of Slaughter, forging a culture defined by blood, steel, and unyielding discipline. Warfare is sacred, and battles are fought not only to destroy the enemy, but to prove devotion through skill and ferocity. Dueling is central to this culture, where both combat and ritual and of personal and martial honor, and the blade of Khorne stands as a symbol of lethal mastery. Martial honor dictates respect for strength, prowess, while dishonor, whether through cowardice, failure, or negligence, is met with swift retribution. All actions are governed by the 8 decrees, a strict code that channels violence into ritualized forms, ensuring that every strike and maneuver upholds the god's wrath without descending into chaos and mindless slaughter. All skulls are taken in battle are offered to Khorne alone. No personal trophies are forbidden, ensuring that every kill still serves the blood god rather than the pride of the individual. Warfare. For Knights of Slaughter, all warfare is an act of devotion to Khorne, with every engagement serving as both battle and a ritual. Dueling holds significant importance, as facing a worthy opponent and striking them down is the sure way to prove one's skill, ferocity, and loyalty. Every act of slaughter is offered to Khorne. Through each war or each duel, warrior earns his place in the god's favor, showing that glory in combat is inseparable from devotion. Dueling. For the Knights of Slaughter, dueling is both a sacred ritual and a skill reserved for formal challenges within the chapter. Combatants strike in deliberate ceremonial exchanges, often continuing until cuts have been landed to honor tradition and test mastery. Enemies, by contract, are shown no mercy. Their deaths swift, as the sacred duel is a privilege of kin, not foe. The Blade of Khorne. At the start of every crusade, the god of Khorne selects a single knight to bear his favor, anointing him with sacred blessing that marks him above all others. This chosen warrior reports to the Chain Cantor, who verifies the divine selection with the title of the Blade of Khorne, grants access to mighty war gear. Add an armor etched with bone and adorned with the red flowing tabard, and a cape with the skulls of the warband's greatest icons woven into it. The knight wield massive two-handed demon-forged sword, a weapon of such bears the wrath of a bloodletter, and carries the authority and terror of Khorne into every battle. Martial honor. Martial honor is Khorne is the god of martial honor, embodying raw and uncompromising truth of combat, straight, direct, and without deceit. He despises cowardice and deceit, and demanding that only those who face their foes with skill and ferocity earn his favor. While all skulls are collected or accepted in his name, only those taken by the champions in honorable duels are worthy of ascending to Khorne's skull throne. Those who prove themselves are granted a warrior's death in battle, while cowards and those who fail are cut down without mercy. Their slaughter a testament to the god's relentless justice. Dishonor. Khorne despises all forms of cowardice and those who falter in the face of battle. Death is the only fate. For the Knights of Slaughter, this hatred is tempered by discipline, as they follow 4 major and 4 minor decrees of Khorne that guide them towards honor and away from the breaking of their oaths. These sacred laws shape every action, ensuring the Knights of strike with courage, uphold their vows, and resist the corrupting bite of the nails, proving themselves worthy of the God's favor. The 8 decrees of binding. The 8 decrees of binding, the 4 major decrees, govern the core duties of the Knights of Slaughter, and breaking any of them is punishable by immediate death, for such failure is unforgivable unforgivable dishonor. The 4 minor decrees carry less, though still severe consequences. Those who fail are condemned to serve in the Unchained, enduring war and hardship for their transgression. Together, this structure enforces strict discipline and penance, ensuring that every knight remains steadfast in honor, obedience, and devotion to Khorne. The major, punishable by death. The 4 major decrees of Khorne are absolute. Breaking any of them is punishable by immediate death. Such failures are unforgivable stains of honor. Number 1, there is no God but Khorne. There is no Primarch but Angron. There is no master but Slaughter. And there is no savior but yourself. Strike with devotion only, Khorne. Know your own skill, and let no other power guide your hand. There's like actual law, and then there's like a little postscript underneath, or whatever you call it. No psyker, no sorcery, no demon shall walk among us. That's number 2. Wield only the power of your body and blade, and banish all sorcery and demoncraft from your presence. Number 3, no knight shall raise blade against another brother, save in sanctified duel. Attacking a brother only in ritualized duels, and defend the honor of your kin at all times. Number 4, cowardice is death. Standing unflinching in the face of the enemy, for fear and hesitation are met with immediate slaughter. And then the minor ones. The 4 minor decrees carry lesser, though still severe consequences. Those who fail them are condemned to serve in the Unchained, enduring war and hardship. Number 5, no duel shall be refused. Accept every challenge without hesitation, proving your skill and devotion in combat. Number 6, no order given in war shall be defied. Follow every command in battle without question. Disobedience weakens the line and invites death. Number 7, the line shall not break, not for pain, not for the butcher's nails. Hold your position without faltering. Endure all torment to maintain the cohesion of the line. Number 8, no skull is yours to claim. All skulls belong to the throne. Offer every kill to Khorne alone, and claim no trophy for yourself. For the gods of favor is earned, not taken. So I mentioned if you break the top 4, you get killed. Like, you can't kill other people in the warband unless you're doing a sanctified duel. And even then, it's to usually 8 cuts. You don't want to kill your brothers. Cowardice obviously gets you killed. No sorcery, that's pretty obvious. And then I like the top one where it's like the main ideologies of the chapter are just right in the first one. I almost base this off like the 10 Commandments, but like, no, not quite fully bang for bang. But the first law: there is no God but Khorne. There is no Lord but Angron. There is no master but Slaughter. There is no savior but yourself. And it just kind of shows the different hierarchies. Like the master of the leader of the warband is called the Master of Slaughter. So that third kind of laws: there is no master but Slaughter, or whatever. Fucking play on words. Okay, so we'll carry on. The trial of the Unchained. So this happens if you do the minor one, where you do something where it's like not worthy of killing you. You're still useful, but you're serving some penance now. The trial of the Unchained. When a knight of Slaughter is dishonored by breaking a minor decree, he is brought before the Chain Cantor to face ritual penance. The Chain Cantor strips the warrior of his heraldry, removing his helmet and shoulder armor and leaving him bare of all markings that once declared his status. The chains binding his weapons are removed, for he is no longer counted among his brethren. He is condemned to the ranks of the Unchained. These warriors are kept in stasis within drop pods, waiting to be hurled in the height of battle as their expendable instruments of war. If the Unchained survive the engagement, their honor class may be restored, but many are claimed by the Butcher's Nails, doomed to serve the remainder of their lives in endless punishment and battle. Fucking tight. Yeah. You guys gotta be sweet to build. I'm gonna. Well, no, we'll talk later about models, but the Unchained come up a whole bunch. This isn't only mention of them. They're like very pivotal to the Knights. You know, we mentioned when we were talking about the Gene Seed, where every knight eventually falls to the Butcher's Nails. So if you're alive long enough, you'll probably find yourself in the ranks of the Unchained, and maybe you master the Butcher's Nails again. And you're able to work your way out, but probably not. Really, probably not. So the final kind of tradition that Khorne brings is no personal skull trophies. The Knights of Slaughter do not adorn themselves with the skulls of their enemies, for personal glory is forbidden in the service of Khorne. While they only take the heads of the worthy in battle, each trophy is offered to the god alone, a sacred tribute that honors skill, ferocity, and devotion. No skull is kept for pride or vanity, all are claimed by Khorne, ensuring that every act of slaughter serves the god rather than the individual. Grim, I love that. Take no trophies for yourself, only Khorne. Yeah, like that's a big thing when doing these models too. Like I was looking at Black Templar and obviously don't have any skulls anywhere. And yeah, I could have slapped skulls on them, but I was kind of like, that kind of just really makes them more knightly. Like they had those spikes on them and stuff. Like they still look brutal. They still look like they're bad guys, but yeah, just kind of not taking that one extra step. Like those aren't theirs. Yeah. All right. Lord Angron, the Red Angel, is kind of the next culture and tradition would tackle. The Knights of Slaughter. To the Knights of Slaughter, Angron is not simply their Primarch, but the living embodiment of fear they have sworn to master. They do not revere him as a distant god, nor excuse the ruin he wrought, but instead regard him as the truest expression of what they are. Rage given form, unbound and absolute. Where others see a creature consumed by wrath, the Knights see both origin and warning, the source of their strength, the fate they face they must never fully embrace. In their rights and in their war, Angron is honored, not through blind imitation, but through contrast. His endless fury measured against their discipline, his rage sharpened into purpose through their cult code. He is the Red Angel, first and greatest of their kind, and though they cannot follow him as he is, and though they follow him as he is, all they can do is carry out well, that's a funky sentence. Sometimes that happens. All they do is carry it out in the shadow of what he. I think that just go away that whole fucking sentence. If Angron calls, there we go. This sounds better. This sentence sounds a lot better. If Angron calls, they will answer without question, ready to unleash their fury and devotion in skill, his name. However, they may forever be waiting for such a summons from the Red Angel. Relentless aggression. Angron's example in the foundation of the Knights' approach to war, unyielding, direct, and overwhelming. Like their Primarch, they follow the rhythm of violence, controlled, furious, channeling the echoes of the Butcher's Nails that fuel their own fury. Though the nails drive their blood to boil and their reflexes to sharpen, the Knights temper this inherited rage with discipline, transforming what could be mindless frenzy into precise, devastating on the battlefield. Every charge, duel, and mechanized assault is a tribute to Angron's fury, executed with lethal control and purpose. Brotherhood. The bonds of the Knights of Slaughter are forged in the shadow of Angron's solitary fury, yet tempered with loyalty and mentorship. Though the Primarch is often seen as a figure of unbridled rage, he once commanded champions, the eaters of cities, whose fierce loyalty and shared purpose shaped him as much as he shaped them. Deep within Angron lies the essence of brotherhood, a sense of kinship, now buried beneath centuries of loss, for all his brothers are dead. The Knights inherit this duality, translating his intensity into disciplined camaraderie, mentoring new recruits, supporting squad mates in duels, and maintaining cohesion through ritual and rite, binding themselves into brotherhood as fearsome as it is controlled. The World Eaters. The World Eaters have long been bound by traditions and rites forged in the days before their fall. Though many are twisted or cast aside when they turn fully to Khorne, what remains are echoes of their former discipline, reshaped by blood and fury, yet still carrying the weight of ritual and purpose. Practices such as the triumph rope, the dueling pits in the Cadera Renaceum endure, preserved in brutal forms that blend old legion structure with savage devotion of the new creed. In these rites, the past is not forgotten but reforged, proving that even in madness and slaughter, tradition still has its place. The triumph rope. Before battle, each warrior carves a line into his own flesh, later allowing it to heal clean for the victor, or corrupting it with dirt to mark defeat, forming a living record of his deeds. Over time, these scars twist across his body into a rope, red and black, a permanent testament to all failure and experience. The dueling pits. The dueling pits are brutal arenas where warriors fight one another in mutual combat, often agreeing beforehand how to determine the victor. These fights forge brotherhood, settle disputes, and test leadership, while some bouts escalating all the way to death. The Cadera Renaceum. The Cadera Renaceum is not a ritual but a mark of identity, most often seen as crests on helmets worn by the world eaters. It signifies a warrior who has cast aside all restraint and lives only for war, embodying the legion's pure devotion to battle and violence. Ceremonies, liturgies, oaths, and rites. So moving out of the culture and traditions, a little more of this. Ceremonies, liturgies, oaths, and rites form the foundation by which the Knights of Slaughter preserve their brotherhood, sanity and honor amid endless war. The ceremony of heraldic renewal, the liturgies of doctrine, the oaths of binding in war, and the rite of bloodshed are observed in strict and repeating order, each reinforcing the next. This cycle begins at the outset of a crusade and endures until the war is complete, where the final rite closes the campaign and the sequence begins anew. Through constant repetition, these practices are carved deep into the mind and soul of every knight, binding them to their purpose and holding them steady against the bite of the nails. The ceremony of heraldic renewal. In absolute silence, the knights repaint their armor and restore their kilcloths, renewing every mark, line, and symbol with deliberate precision. This act is one of reflection and discipline, of reaffirming identity, honor, and weight of past deeds without a single spoken word. The liturgies of doctrine. The knights gather as one, led by the chain cantor, to recite the 4 orders of battle and the 8 codes of slaughter and the major and minor decrees. Through repetition, these words are driven deep into the mind, becoming instinct as much as belief. The oaths of binding in war. As they don their armor before battle, the knights bind their weapons to their wrists, chains and secure kilcloths in place. Each motion is accompanied by solemn oaths, preparing both body and mind for vengeance to come. The rite of bloodshed. The rite of bloodshed is not a preparation for war, but the war itself, where every strike, every kill becomes an act of ritual devotion. In the chaos of battle, the rite is fulfilled as blood spilled in combat serves as both offering and proof of the knight's purpose. Warp doctrine. The Knights of Slaughter uphold a warp doctrine, or rigid warp doctrine, rejecting corruption, mutation, and uncontrolled presence of demons as weaknesses that dilute the purity of martial combat. They permit only what aligns with Khorne's will. Demon blades bound in iron purpose, juggernauts, engines of war, and flesh hounds as hunters of the foe, so long as these serve as extensions of rather than masters. Should a knight fall too far to corruption, mutation, or demonic, fate is sealed. His fate is sealed, either to be slain to a duel or cast into the ranks of the Unchained. To the knight, the warp is not to be embraced or trusted, but controlled, contained, or bent only towards the honest brutality of war. No corruption. The Knights of Slaughter will not suffer the influence of any god but Khorne, which all of the powers as weakness and deceit. To them, to touch the rival gods is corruption that dilutes the purity of war and dishonors the blade. The devotion is singular, absolute, and no other force is permitted to take root among them. No mutation. They reject mutation in all forms, believing themselves already forged as perfect instruments of war. Flesh twisted by warp is seen as a crutch for the weak, a sign of reliance on powers beyond one's own strength. The true warrior stands as he is, unaltered, proving his worth through skill, endurance, and will alone. And in no mutation, there's no abhumans as well. Abhumans are seen as just another form of mutation, tolerated only when useful in battle. Though they might fight beside the knights of slaughter, they are never accepted into the fleets or the ranks. No demons. The knights do not summon demons nor depend on them, for their war must be fought by their own hands. If such entities are present, they are ignored or tolerated as tools, never as allies or masters. Exceptions exist in tightly controlled forms, such as bound demon weapons, juggernauts, and fleshhounds, which are treated as extensions of battle rather than just being trusted. Cornate demon blades. Demons of Khorne are rarely bound into blades, and only the greatest champions are deemed worthy to wield such blades. Juggernauts. On rare occasions, a knight will forsake the armored rite of passage to ride a juggernaut of Khorne into battle. And fleshhounds. Fleshhounds manifest where cowardice and fear are strongest. They are ignored and allowed to do Khorne's hunting. Yeah. Wraps up their kind of warp doctrine. We did it through those pages. We made it right up to organization. So that's the next little section of them. If there's anyone in the call that wants to shoot the shit for 5-10 minutes about, that's a long time. Whoa, that's a lot of pressure all of a sudden. Yeah, I'll drop a link, and if you have any questions, well, yeah, the Knights of Slaughter, a couple things that we kind of breezed over. I didn't want to keep interrupting myself as I read. But I'll go back to the worship of Khorne, and specifically the Blade of Khorne. This is like a special character. It's basically like an Emperor Champion ripoff where, yeah, before the eve of battle, Khorne kind of one of them, and he gets fancy blade and fancy armor, and he gets to go through the campaign. It doesn't happen every campaign. Maybe it does. I think Khorne is there as long as they're in like honorable standing. Maybe that would be a fun story to write, or like a fun blurb of history of like them being in a dishonorable standing with Khorne. But yeah, the Blade of Khorne, very cool. I can't wait to just he's gonna have a big fucking demon blade. Not many guys will. What else was there? I do really like the 3 different kind of codes and orders and rights there are. Like they all play into each other. Like all 3 you kind of need in order to be functional. You need the orders of battle to be able to operate in war. Then you need the codes of slaughter, so then you can actually kind of like maintain yourself. And then you need the final one so you know what happens essentially if somebody breaks those. I did see, Grim, that you tried to join, but it says your device is not connected. So, oh, there we go. Now, there we go. Yo, Grim, how's it going, man?
Good, man. How about you?
Oh, just I'm in a fever pitch of chaos here. I need help.
No. You just need more plastic. That's always the solution to this problem across the board.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you brought up your like the tolerating some of the demons that come through. Like when you're talking about cowardice pussies that like just run away from a battle, and you didn't like even scratch the surface about the fleshhounds or Karnak. I was just like raging behind the screen, like, what the fuck are you talking? Okay, he touched base on it. Bring it back down. Bring it back to earth here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah,
no,
I definitely have Karnak in the buy list. Like he's in there. Don't you worry. I just imagine, this army really does strike fear into the enemy. Just it's almost like unnerving how they wage war, almost like loyalists.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was definitely a fun little chapter that you made there. I mean, you said you got another 2 episodes on top of this?
Yeah, I think 2 more. We're gonna get into it. I break down like even warband infrastructure. We get into like different cults that follow it, an Imperial Guard regiment, all types of fun little stuff like that. So, like I
Awesome.
tried to expand it like as far as I could take it. I'm still waiting on models to arrive. Apparently, I get them this fucking weekend, which is kind of like, yeah. I had to record these episodes before I got the models, I guess.
Well, didn't you add something? Like you were working on some models, or maybe it was just like a Knights of Slaughter Lord or something like that.
Yeah, so I got some, like I ordered models from Russia, from Amazon, some 3D printed stuff, some third-party sites. So I had like literally bits from all around the world are converging to me on panel. Like I went all out. So
Well, I mean, you're right at the center trade route, so I mean, it just makes sense that it comes right through Panama, man.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Come on, you're coming through here anyways. Drop off a box of Warhammer.
Well,
my big haul comes this week, and I'm fucking hyped, man.
that's gonna be fucking cool, man. Had you ever had any issues with shipping? Like I know I had a buddy, he ordered some stuff. Heck, I don't even remember where it was from, but he ordered some stuff online, and apparently the shipping container like bloop right off the fucking boat, and so they wrote it off. They ended up like reimbursing him the money, but like you ever think about doing some scuba diving out your way and maybe finding a wrecked up?
Oh, that'd be sweet. Yeah. I know this neck of the woods. They used to have a bunch of like Caribbean pirates in the area. So there are some like ships you can dive on that would be pretty sweet, man.
Cool.
But
cool,
I don't
cool,
think they
cool.
have Warhammer, just like fucking like, I don't know, Gold the Blooms or something.
Oh, worthless. Melt it down, make some gold
Worthless.
Warhammer instead.
Yeah, exactly. And I want plastic doubloons.
All right, well, I won't take up any more of your time. I just wanted to touch base on that Karnak and Fleshhound thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I was almost screaming at the computer there, bud.
Oh, thank God. We don't want that. All right. Well, thanks for calling, Grim. We'll see ya. Alrighty. Well, that's the next episode of the Knights of Slaughter. In the next episode, or that was this episode. In the next episode, we're going to go into the organization. There's a lot of different ranks here. And I got to be honest, I think I was a little more creative than my my Imperial Knight arm with my men-at-arms and my men-at-veteran. I don't even remember them all. They were all bad, but they all had men-at-arms in it. So this one's a little better with what I came up with. A little older and mature. Many more worded. Mark wrote this one. Yeah, so we'll get into organizations, different ranks, different squad constructions. It's not just berserkers. Get into their transports. To get into how they actually rank up and level up and go through squads and stuff. Different duels of ascension and duels of replacement. Warband strength and size. Some notable members. Maybe I'll do one notable member right now. We mentioned the Unchained, and we will mention them many more times. So basically, if you dishonor, you strip down, take off your heraldry. You're no longer allowed to wear your colors. You take off the shoulder pads of Khorne as well and your armor. Like you're not really the vibe anymore. You have to redeem yourself or you're a berserker. So this special character is called Remnant. Remnant stands as a grim testament to what the Knights of Slaughter all face. A warrior who, had he retained control, might have risen among the greatest of warband. Instead, he is the longest-serving member of the Unchained. His mind, all but consumed by the butcher nails, reduced to a snarling engine of violence. Without discipline or restraint, stripped of rank, heraldry, and even much of his armor, he fights with whatever weapon lies at the hand, caring nothing for form or honor. Yet he endures, and so long as he lives, his trial is unending. Each battle a final chance at a worthy death comes. Fuck, this be so awesome. This guy's model I want to use. I'll pull up here. Yeah, this guy. You go to the show, you can watch us. Here's a picture I pulled up. So this guy comes from the World Eaters Jackals cult box. He's like a Dishonored, they call him, but pretty sure he's like a fallen space marine, essentially. He's got black carapace data ports on him. He's fucking huge as well. So I'm going to turn this guy to a Dishonored where, take off a couple of the Jackal bits and maybe just one or two things of my guys. But yeah, just like this concept of like, this will eventually be the fate. Either you're so good that you'll eventually be this like rage-filled berserker, or you're butcher's nail and then like you die in control, but like you will die. Like there's no route out. But I guess that's true for all experience. There's no way out. It's just you're gonna die in war. That's kind of the Jim Jamboree of it all. Why use many words when few words do? Yeah, exactly. Cool. We'll also talk in the next episode about their domains. You know, they hold a bunch of different little things, but yeah, all types of things. We'll leave it here. And if you want to support the show, don't forget to come join the Patreon. Throw me a buck, and we'll see you all in the next episode when we learn more about it's my like finishing project. You know, I'm a papa. I got one, and I hope to get many more. But you know, I only have an hour a night. I want to spend that doing these guys hand in hand, painting Knights of Slaughter into the wee hours. You know, I've never done a diorama, but I've even been considering like, if I did a diorama for these guys, what would it look like? It obviously has to be like their chapter chapter fortress. Like you print off like a backdrop, and then you do like a gate that's open and guys are pouring out of it. Like guys are on the ramparts and stuff like that. I think that's probably the move. That or you do like a like moonlight type surface, and you do dropping land raiders, and you have a couple land raiders suspended, maybe one like hit the ground and making a crater, like a couple of rolling forward. Oh man, the deep striking land raiders. Yeah, there's a couple options for dioramas. So if you have anything you want me to do, I don't know, inspire me. I'm revved up. I could be talked into doing anything for these guys right now. So shoot me a message, and we'll see you all on the next episode.